something might happen to Ido. As she sifts through old Eliksni's scrolls and knowledge in an attempt to craft a curse-reversing tonic for her father's curse, Ido is beginning to change, and other characters are noticing it. Welcome, Guardians. Today we discuss these stories. Ido is the daughter of Mithrax, raised ever since he found her in the vents of a fallen ship. She is a scribe of House Light. She documents Eliksni culture, teaches, and is eager to learn new things. Her first appearance was back in Season of the Splicer, where we only heard audio logs from her around the Eliksni camp. Season of Plunder was when she began to have some more important roles. She was a character on screen now. We saw those relationships with characters like her father and also Aramis, which still continues today in this episode. In Revenant, her sole focus is using old Eliksni knowledge to try and reverse her father's curse. She and the Guardians wield and craft tonics and new potions in the last city's market district. In a new lore card, Fair Judgment, it gives us an update on Ido's current progress, both with the curse and as a scribe. Ido extinguished the flame on her ambient air gas burner. As the beaker above it cooled, the solution inside resolved into two distinct fluids, layered one atop another. Even at high heat, they remained immiscible. She clicked her mandibles in irritation. The footfalls of an approaching visitor interrupted her. She welcomed the distraction, anything to justify the hiatus she felt too guilty to grant herself. Varix hobbled in, his fur collar matted by the lab's humidity. The Vandal glanced surreptitiously toward Mithrax Kel, who was slumped on his throne nearby. Even though the troubled Kel was heavily sedated, Varix kept his voice low. "Varix has a new task for young Ido," he muttered. Ido sighed. This was not the pleasant diversion she had hoped for. "I'm too busy to take on new jobs right now," she objected. "There is a dispute between House Light and newcomers from House Salvation," Varix continued, breezing past her objection. "A squabble over salvage rights, the jump drive of an ancient ship found outside the city." "That seems simple enough. Surely you can mediate." "Of course. Varix is a scribe of House Judgment. Are you?" "I want to be, eventually, but..." She gestured with exasperation to her laboratory equipment, her ailing father, and her myriad failed attempts to cure him. "House Judgment keeps peace for all," Varix replied gravely. "Not only one house or one Kel. As a scribe, your allegiance to House Light must always yield a greater need." Varix ushered his young pupil from the lab. "Come," he encouraged her. "Help your kin. Create harmony, and it will follow you back here." It was exactly the type of advice her father would have given. Ido relented, letting Varix lead her outside. As they emerged, she expected the usual pangs of guilt. Instead, she was surprised to find only relief in the bustle of the city and the chill of the evening air. So currently at the end of Act 1 here, as we wait for Act 2, which is going to be shown off tomorrow in a stream, video on the channel for that by the way, we could see it's not really going well when it comes to creating these tonics and trying to find a cure for the curse of Nezarec. On the other hand, we have this small storyline of Varix training Ido as a scribe, explaining how important her role is, not just in helping her father and other people like Eliksni, but also embracing her scribe nature, one of the last main scribes for the Eliksni that we know of. Varix sees Ido as a sort of successor to himself, the next generation that will carry on the tradition of teaching, documenting, and learning. Having Varix back and offering this knowledge to a character like Ido is a nice touch, giving her a mentor, so to speak, when she's struggling while her father is in this condition.
Now Varix is humbled. He remembers he is not a Kel. He is a scribe. House Judgment is not the way of fighting or ruling. It is the way of keeping history, promoting justice, teaching hatchlings. So Verix will train Ido, and together, scribes will undo the many wrongs of Verix the Loyal.
In the old Rancor Sparrow Lore tab, an Eliksni named Ixis approaches Ido and has some thoughts about the differences between humanity and Eliksni. She once again speaks about her overall goal of uniting and changing. I greet you in the light, Ixis. Thank you for speaking with me. I understand you have some questions about the House of Light. Oh, no offense taken. Our houses haven't always embraced with 4 arms. I understand your reluctance. Your history is so much longer than mine, as Verix is constantly reminding me. You haven't had much reason to trust the humans. I can see why you believe that, but you must admit, much has changed since the Twilight Gap. This is a new period in history, potentially the greatest era of development we've known since the Drift. It's an opportunity to move beyond traditional rivalries to create new. Aramis Cal may have evolved more than you think. We've spoken at length about the hardships your generation faced, many at the hands of the humans, and many more self-inflicted. I know it's hard to change old ways, but the young Eliksni of House Light, those hatched after the Drift, we have no appetite for more death. We share no animosity with the humans. They're our neighbors now. Well, if cooperation is defeat, then we're all defeated. All thanks to the bloody mess left to us by our venerated elders. I apologize. That was unkind. I know you faced much and persevered, but if a loss of pride is the cost of peace, then so be it. The House of Light will raise their hatchlings in safety, free from old bitterness, and be glad of it. I just hope you're able to see the city as I do someday. So this card gives us a look more into some of Eliksni beliefs. Characters like Ido and the younger Eliksni born after the long drift, after the long travels to Sol, don't want any more death. They're happy to be here in the city allied with the humans and will raise their hatchling in the safety of this new era. Now we've known since Season of the Splicer, when this alliance sort of began in the city with House of Light, many humans did feel animosity toward the Eliksni, like Lakshmi. They're like, okay, this is a bad idea. These Fallen have killed us. They've eaten babies, yet we have them out here in our city, in our streets next to our homes. But this card gives us a little bit of a flipped insight. The Eliksni instead feeling uneasy about this human alliance. They still hold on to those past wars. Ido is once again doing her job. She says if cooperation of this alliance is defeat, then we're defeated. And it's no thanks to those Eliksni many years ago who took part in wars.
I remember the whirlwind, and we are running from it. We are running from that pain, and will be forever. You do not want this life. Aramis, do not stand in my way. If we meet again, I will be the last thing you see. You and that hypocrite you call a father.
Stop! She protected me!
She could have had everything.
Ido, despite Aramis's alliance with darkness, still sees hope in her ever since Season of Plunder, back when Aramis spared Ido's life. And Ido still feels this way now. One can't help but wonder though if this trust will come back to bite her in the end.
I visited Aramis in her cell. We've been talking a little. I think we're making progress. She's been more responsive lately. But for every drop I learn, there's a whole tank full that was forgotten. That's why it's so important that we learn from the few survivors, like Verix and Aramis. I know you and Aramis Kell share animosity, as my father would say. But she's more than a leader or a fighter or a criminal. She's a rare link to the secrets of old Reese. I encourage you to put aside the past and let Aramis-Kell help us.
So Guardians, there we have some stories about the transformation of Eido as a character. We first heard audio logs in Splicer. She appeared in Plunder, and now she's evolving to this more higher role in Eliksni society, upgrading her skills as a scribe thanks to Variks the Loyal, one of the best scribes ever, and possibly even, who knows, becoming a Kell if her father dies in the future. Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. If you'd like to see some more Destiny lore and mysteries just like it, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.